Hi everyone, my name is Julie Williams and I chose to do my research paper on child sexual abuse. Before I did this research paper, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really think it was that common. And then as I started researching this, I started to realize how many children are physically abused, and all abuse is horrible to children. I specifically focus on child sexual abuse, and child sexual abuse is very, very common these days. And it's something that affects these children for the rest of their lives. So that's what my paper is going to focus on. And so I just wanted everyone to watch this video. I thought it was a really good video. Let's see. Okay. Oh. So let's go back up here. Okay. So I wanted to start out this PowerPoint with scripture verses. I have just, as a Christian, always thought that the Lord finds such value in children and just, they're such gifts to people. And I don't think we always recognize what gifts a child can be. So Psalms 127:3 says, Behold, children are heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb, a reward. And I have a couple more scripture verses on there, but they pretty much all say the same thing, that the Lord just values children so much, and we need to value them also. They are gifts from Him and meant to be treated like a special gift from the Lord. Okay, so what is considered abuse? Sexual abuse is any interaction between an adult and child that is sexually stimulating to the abuser or someone watching. I didn't realize how many different kinds of abuse there were. I thought it was literally like touching or, being physical with the child, but there are many different kinds of abuse and different kind of things people like to do with children. And so to be aware that abuse is much more than just touching is so important. Sexual abuse can be both physically touching and non-touching. Sexual abusers may use force, just playing, threats against the child or someone the child loves, deception, manipulation. I mean, you're dealing with a child here whose brain is not fully developed, who's very physically weak. They're not strong. They can't defend themselves. And this person can use any force or manipulation tactic to get what they want from this child. And a lot of times these sexual abuse cases are done with someone that the child knows or that their family or friends trust. And that works in the abuser's favor because they have the trust of everyone around the child. Why wouldn't they have the trust of the child? And the child thinks no one will believe them. So it just ends up being this very, very difficult thing. According to the National Child Traumatic Stress Network, many perpetrators groom their victims, which may take much time and gifts. So grooming was a word that I came across very often. It's basically the perpetrator, the abuser, getting the child ready to be abused. So they're earning the trust of the family, earning the trust of the friends, earning the trust of the child, and then they abuse the child, and the child is manipulated to think no one would believe them because why would somebody believe this great person that's in my life? Abuse does not discriminate. I know that I kind of went into this assignment with a skewed view that abuse only happens in poorer areas because maybe the mom and dad aren't home with the children or it's a one-parent home and so the children are left unattended. But according to the research I found, abuse can happen anywhere at any time, no matter what race you are, gender, or income. None of that matters. Children from all walks of life can be victims of sexual abuse. Males and females are victims of sexual abuse. Where one lives, their annual income, the school they attend, their friends, their family do not make a difference in sexual abuse. If somebody wants to abuse a child, they're going to do that. They don't care if the child is black or white or Asian or Mexican. None of that matters. It's just a child. So the signs are so important, especially to us going in the counseling field, because we may see this in our office, and we need to be aware of what to look for if a child is being abused. So, nightmares, sleeping difficulties, withdrawn behavior, angry outbursts or anxiety, depression, not wanting to be left alone with a particular individual, sexual knowledge and or language, and behaviors that are inappropriate for the child's age. So I know in taking Ramona's class now that she's emphasized so much to listen to our gut, and I think that is such great advice. And she just says, when you know something's wrong, something's wrong. So I'm trying to practice that in my everyday life, just listening to little things that my gut says, because I think so often we turn that off, or we, lower the volume so we don't have to listen to that. But it's something that the Lord has given us, I believe. So do not tell anyone. Threats of harm to the child and or the child's loved ones may be done by the perpetrator, so that the child does not tell anyone about the abuse and it can continue. Fear of being taken away from their home is something that's also put into these children's mind, that they won't be with their family or friends or be able to go to school. They'll be taken away. People not believing the child. So the perpetrator can tell the child, nobody is going to believe you. I'm an adult and they're going to trust me. And so there's nothing anybody can do. Shame and guilt are two huge factors used in abuse. And loyalty to the perpetrator, since the perpetrator does tend to groom these children, they do have a certain loyalty or love towards this person. Even though they're abusing them, the relationship didn't start off that way. So educating children is super important. So teaching little children the names of their body parts is very good. It's letting the child know what is kind of on their body. Appropriate and non-appropriate touching. So letting a child know where is okay for somebody to touch you and where is not okay. It's okay to say no. I think this is so good, because I remember being little, and you don't want to say no to an adult. You want to listen to an adult. They're in charge and they know what's best for you, and that's not always the case, clearly. And so teaching your children that it's okay to say no at times is super important. And then, again, listen to your gut as a parent. If you feel something's weird, if you feel something's off, as a parent or as a cousin or an older sibling or an aunt or uncle, just listening to that internal instinct we have. So emergency contacts. In doing this, I first went to the Center for Community Solutions. I didn't realize that you had to have an appointment, and it was like a locked down facility. I went up to the door to kind of go in, and it was locked, and they talked to you through the little box. And I told her I was a grad student and that I was doing this, my project on child sexual abuse, and she was super friendly and answered a couple of my questions. But she did say that it's locked because everything's very private, and they only take appointments. But they did refer me to the Chadwick Center for Children and Families, which is located at Rady Children's Hospital, and that is the most amazing place I found online. They help children and families dealing with this exact situation, child sexual abuse and all abuse. And it's cops and investigators and nurses and doctors and physicians and all these different people that come together to help this family and this child suffering. And so I thought that was just an amazing place to find. And then my references. So I just want to thank all of you for watching my video. I hope that if you do know anybody who's being sexually abused, that you do report them, since we are mandated reporters. Okay, thank you.